Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. On this episode, we're going to deep dive into etymology, numerology, astrology, divination in of itself, understanding how these vibrations turn into a frequency that's transmitted through your physical body as a tuning fork, and how you can utilize these particular mechanisms to get a very clear understanding of what is going on in your life purpose, in your journey, in this lifetime, in this incarnation, reincarnation, however you define it. All these things will be touched on and explored, and make sure you stay to the end of the video, and we do an exercise being able to transmute the audible inaudible through a vibration turned into a frequency that is the experience that you have at the end of this video. Enjoy the video. To the power of 9, to the power of 18, to the power of 81. Realized abundance, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite, the truth to everything. The anchor that ties you to all things, realized as this present moment. Your gift is your offering right here, right now. Welcome to the consciousness of the way. My divine delectable co-host, the high power of Ninest, High Priestess Jadis. Judas, I don't even want to go there.
I know. I was going to say, was that a Freudian slip?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it? I don't know. We're going deep into divination right now. So is it really? I'm not sure. Do I need to watch my back? No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Are you the buster? Are you the buster? Are you the buster? For anyone who's ever seen the movie Fast and the Furious, the buster kept me out of handcuffs. Anyway,
classic
one-liner. You got that should have a rippling effect for you if you want to create the synchronicity between Walker and Diesel in that epic, iconic sort of salute to pop culture, the Fast and the Furious, and it's got nothing to do with Obama. Anyway.
You're in rare form today.
I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Ching. And welcome. Come on in, come on down. We are basically stepping into the realms of many things: numerology, astrology, etymology, understanding the origins of these things, these divination indicators for giving you a realization of where you are in your own journey, life path, perhaps, as it would be more commonly referred to within numerology. It's a very interesting thing, because if you really start to dig deep using an indicator like ideomotor, which would be more commonly just the transmission of energetics through your physical body, using yourself as a tuning fork, giving you an outcome, using other sort of like tools to decipher what it is that's being transmitted through your physical body. If you're not so familiar with your sensory perception, you're not directly getting a line, you haven't developed those skills yet, and you just want, some straight out results. These divination tools are very handy. Tarot cards, pendulums, tuning forks, Ouija boards, however you want to replicate it, right down to a 52 card deck, you can create and get a message and a result of what that really means to you. And in our situation, we, on a very baseline, for most people can access things of that sort of nature, divination tools like the Taoist rites and we access the trigram, the 9 trigrams of the Taoist rites on a much deeper level. Booyah! The power of 9 is our number, the most powerful number, and is reflected within all things that you know, from your basic understanding of the humanness all the way up to the, stars that are above you that you would reflect on as the, sprinklings of the universe. And so it brings us here today to understand that. Now, within Taoism, within Chinese culture, we've had many generational shifts of our native language of Mandarin that we speak now, that's been transmuted all the way back to when the Yellow Emperor sort of like put some type of like logging system from just, pictographs being images that were logging the experiences that people were experiencing thousands of years ago, to the evolution of what we know of today, which is, Mandarin, which is more commonly accepted within, Chinese culture, and certain parts of China, you'll just regress right back to Cantonese. It looks very similar or the same on paper, and it's derived in a different way using a pinyin chart, which is basically sort of a correlation of you being able to understand it within English and create a definition that would be, translated, right? So, but be very clear, it's not in any way referencing any sort of like alphabetical code, or moreover, you're not going to have a deeper understanding of this incredible ancient language if you want to reference English, because that's the bastard child of all things. And so you have this mishmash, and now we get to etymology, we get to astrology, we get to numerology. These are all other points of divination, and how are they, transcribed and transmuted into today's society, and what do they really mean to you? What do they mean to you? What is that path that you're getting? What is that number that keeps reoccurring over and over again in your reality? You turn around and poof, it's this number, this magical number that it has complete relevance to you, and for many reasons. And if you look high and wide and far enough, you will find different variations of what that translates into. And it truly is comes right back to understanding that your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with, and you can correlate it in any way, shape, or form. So directly from the teachings of the 3 pure ones, moreover, Jade Purity specifically, who is the keeper of the information within Taoism, which is part of the co-creation of the cosmos, he makes it very clear that, we are all things. Once you ascend to a realization that steps beyond what we perceive as duality, you'll find that. You'll find that within you. So realizing this, and the understanding that you have the ability to access all things, when you truly are absent of your humanness, and that's only for the purposes of high ascension, creating what you would perceive in a 3D reality as a miracle, this is the perfect entree. Mm-hmm. Understanding how to do this and being able to access those points, get right in there.
And I think a good starting point is to understand what is numerology, what is astrology, what is etymology, and maybe we can help the audience kind of go through those and give, because I do kind of feel like even when you speak to someone who's, I'm a numerologist, everybody has a little bit of a different definition of how they kind of associate it. So let's please share yours.
Etymology is, the deep dive into the origins of linguistics as you know it today. And that can be the rippling effects of how you discover a word that you might be very familiar with that has its deep roots of understanding in different paths all the way back through human history that would be related to many different cultures. And so that, again, has another deep-seated sort of like reference point to astrology, which is clearly the studying of the stars. Moreover, how that relates and transmutes into a zodiac sign through the observation of the universe, i.e. constellations, getting a much deeper understanding. And then numerology is literally moving these parts, the origins of the numbers and how you're getting a definition of those numbers that give you a realization of who you really are. And normally, you take a simplistic sum of your date of birth, and you're able to correlate that through what I believe is, Forrest Gump math, to be honest. And then you create this number that has within a scale that is referenced to a life path, right? And so then you can go even deeper and start, sprouting off into subsections of that give you another understanding altogether. And, you will find, having moments, epiphanies of this, coincidence that these numbers sort of just keep reoccurring. And quite frankly, as I have a very deep understanding from my natural born life over the last 30 years teaching people internal alchemy within Taoism, that you can literally transmute anything into anything. But the most key component to this realization is you have to believe it. You have to believe it 1 billion% for it to transmute into this 3D reality. That means that literally, if you have a knowing where you are void of the trimmings and trappings of the humanists, and you truly resonate with the understanding that you are all things, you can literally turn water into wine. Moreover, you could be in a state where you can transmute anything into anything. It is a frequency. Remember, vibration frequency. That's all it is. So if you get the code, and this is where the numbers come into it, and that's where it's relevant to us within Taoism and within the ancient teachings and the rituals of cultivation through the magic, that we have earth magic, plant magic, weather magic. I mean, it just goes on. How many categories do you want? And they will morph into it. It's magic in definition within Taoism is a more detailed architecture of a manifestation that is derived from the inner workings of mapping your absolute, right down to the last second realization of that. Mm-hmm. And that's a mastery. Conceptual to most, realized by the few, accepted as the universe. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think a lot of spiritual practices, religions, philosophies all work in number-based systems. They might not be the same number, but they all have certain numbers that are very meaningful and very important and play such a relevant role within that system, religious system, whatever it may be, that helps the user or, the practitioner, whoever's practicing it, get that divination.
Oh, yeah. And so, if you just do numerology math for 2024, mm-hmm. This is the big dog. This is the year of power and abundance. Just using the math, the hillbilly math that goes along with numerology, to be quite frank, because when you start doing the, add this minus that, do this, it literally is a divination expression of the current state that you're in.
Right.
And you start to realize that, and you're like, oh, okay. But you can transmute anything. The big, realization that I want, and Jade and I would like you to consider within this podcast, is that if you truly embody yourself as one, all is one, one is all, you are the field is you, that you can embody all things at once, that means that it's good to be you. That means that you are every star, every constellation, every sign, every numerology. Let me say that one more time.
Numerology.
Numerological. Oh, geez. Let me start again. A numerical pattern can be realized any way you want it to be. So that means that the old expression, I want to have my cake and eat it too, will be realized. Or if you want to flip it over and say, it's my party, I want to cry if I want to, it's two of the same. And so understanding that to access that present moment is to be realized.
Right.
And so that is where you can do anything. And that means the culmination of past, present, and future as the now. And it's conceptual to most when we say this until you can actually find the palpability in that, because the inner workings of your internal alchemy, the energetics within that, is when you're able to shift at any moment and create anything because you can feel it. I can feel it. That is the fundamental difference. And within Taoist internal alchemy practices, right down to every second of every minute, because you're moving energy, transmuting it consciously. You're consciously transmitting it, and you're getting a prescribed response. And that means that the now is go time. It's like you're Luke Skywalker heading for the Death Star, and there's that one moment where you take that money shot. And that is that moment, that present moment. But for most people, I use the word but because we're trashing everything before that, and I'm going to make you bring your attention to what I'm saying right now. That's a fundamental pivoting point of a word like that within the linguistic pattern that you are listening to me. All that means nothing, but now you must listen. And when you hear that, everything after the word but is truly the essence of all things that will pour into your unconscious like pixie dust. And it will be realized. And that's part of linguistics. That's part of etymology, is realizing that the inner workings of all things that evoke a response in you from a physical, energetic, spiritual realization, this is the seed of that. So when you are able to access the present, the now, truly access it, anything is possible. Instant manifestation, instant magic, instant healing. And it will not be a slow burn. It's now. And you will see it. It will be realized. And one of the keys to that is to be absent of all titles. Oh, Shifu, what? Tell me more. What does that mean? It means that you are not applying anything to this expression that might be resemblant of anything, including, i.e., your perception of yourself. So when you are the universe, you're not asking yourself, excuse me, universe, can you help me out? You are the universe. That means that when you think it is realized instant manifestation, instant magic, instant healing across everything right now. But there is a fundamental internal alchemy shift that gets you to that state of realization. And once you repeat it, you do it once, you do it twice, you do it 3 times. A lady. You will start to validate your truth. And that's the major indicator as to the exploration of all these things and having it realized in your reality. Is your truth is the only truth you need to be concerned with. Hallelujah to all the authoritarians out there that are cringing right now. The idea of liberating someone to the perception that they could possibly have their own thoughts and their own validation of what is true is scary to most. But when you come to that realization, magical things take place.
I have a great example of that. So when we got pregnant, I
Really?
was
Okay.
I was looking at the due date, and his due date was 12/6. For us, 126 is such a strong number, such a powerful
The
number,
most powerful number.
the most powerful number. Multiples of 9. Obviously, 9 is so powerful in Taoism, our business, the way 126. And the second it happened, I knew, okay, he's going to be born on that day. And, we went through the process, the 9 months, and everyone's always like, when's his due date? When is he due? When is he due? And I would always say it, and they would always be like, or about that time, or around that time, They never, I think the percentage is something like 3, I think it's less than 3% of all babies
So
are.
we must be living 6 times that.
Yeah,
3%,
of
'cause
all
they turn
babies
up
are
when they
actually
turn up
born
on their due date.
on their due date, and not early and not before. And so, and even I was even
We're the top 1 percentile of 1
yeah,
percentiles.
I was even telling you, and you were even like just reassuring me, like, okay, well, if he doesn't come, it's okay. He'll come when he's ready, and all that stuff.
Well,
And
that's the reverse of what the universe does. You tell them the opposite, and it materializes. It's part of the switcheroo, the 3-card Monty.
yeah.
But I knew, just like she knew. But
Right.
It's like, oh, we'll just
It was
pretend.
it was more
whatever,
of like, I don't want to put any pressure. I don't want to put the pressure on you, or any expectation. We let everything flow.
Do it now.
Yeah,
No,
let it flow. So coincidentally enough, our son was born on 12/6, 126, and to make it even more, he was born at 7:20 exactly
Yeah.
in the morning,
Another coincidence.
which is 72. So I mean,
Again.
this is and like you said, with this, once you resonate at that frequency and it happens and it materializes and it validates. And I even knew, I had a complete knowing, he's coming on this day, it's happening. I even tapped into his frequency, and I'm like, are you going to be early? And it was like, clear no. And then it was like, are you going to be late? And it was like, clear no. And I was like, okay, you're going to be right on time then. And it was just this complete synchronicity and miracle moment, amazing, joyous moment. But when we look at all these different things, and you do find these numbers or things that you resonate with, it is just a frequency. And I like how you explain it as a frequency, because if you say, I got a different number this time, it's just a different frequency. It doesn't mean that it's like, oh, it's bad, or, oh, because I didn't get my number 9, I got a number 3 instead. Then that's the opposing force. It's like, no, everything is just a frequency, and you're just tapping into all these different ones. And when you tap into that one, you're in your, ultimate flow. You're effortless. You're all of these incredible things, whatever it may be for you. For us as Taoists, it's 9 and multiples of 9. And so it's just amazing to realize that you hit that frequency, and then it just keeps rippling. And that validation expands your conscious even more, clicks it up, click, 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 click. And it's a powerful thing to really resonate with those numbers and find what resonates with you.
And I would say that just right from the scripture, all rivers run back to the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
So when you realize that, oh yeah, King Kong ain't got nothing on me. When you realize that you are all things, but this is not a there's a fundamental stepping stone process that anyone can learn. We teach it, and you will be valid. It will be solidified within your consciousness, and you will have a palpable energetic pathway that will validate the very experience that you're having. Understand this, know this to be true. So do not be, swayed by conceptual, which is where people start, and we want you to start there because that's how you ended up becoming aligning in the same path that we're in. There is things that are resonating that are bringing you to this very connection that we're all having, that we're listening to each other on this podcast, that we're in this incredible mixing pot, melting pot of, understanding that's taking place in this podcast today is drawing you to the very understanding of that, and the attention to it. And when you realize that, use the path and techniques that we teach people, you are able to be very, very, absolute. And that's really it. It's like the wishy-washy duality that humans start with is part of very much a simulation, but necessary for your own evolution. You can have different, fundamental reflections on that, and people can give you a definition. It's your soul having an experience. It's consciousness absorbing your transmutation of whatever it is. It's whatever it means to you. Understand that, know this to be true. And so the more you validate your truth, whatever it may be, the most profound realizations will take place in your everyday life, because that's how you get down to the get down. That's how you're able to create, manifest magic, healing instantaneously within this 3D reality. And it starts with validating your truth. And that's why the Taoists are second to none. Yes, I am sounding very biased. Yeah. The reality is our inner alchemy processes have never been really revealed to the world. The history timeline of history, as you know it, as you're living in it, that's a reflection of thousands of years of transcribing historic events that you are familiar with. Times that by 100, and you might get close to where all this stuff started. But let's just say 10, 20,000 years ago, this was all being realized, and I can give you the origins of all that through my very teachers, real time. Yellow Emperor, Jade Emperor, Latsu, Supreme Purity, Jade Purity, Highest Purity, Ling Bao. All this stuff can be validated, and that's what we will be doing after the Chinese New Year, our New Year. We'll start rolling those components out because I think they're really important. People want to understand the origins of this stuff. But let's just put it this way. All of this stuff can be realized within your reality, but you need to create and cultivate something that you can validate, not something that's just in your mind like, oh, yeah, I had a good thought, something. No, you should be able to test it, repeat it, and play it. Play this. Experience it on a daily basis. And you can literally, as we always remind you within Taoism, Wu Wei, effortless action, effortless effort is realized, or more commonly, as we like to call it, being done by the Tao, as in all things. That's an embodiment of all things. And so this is really critical. So whether it's numerology, astrology, etymology, understanding that all these components are really deeply related to the inner workings of who you are, you gravitate to them. If we reference it from a model or a template that, the DNA is a reflection of all this stuff, which that may be digestible for you, and you have a greater understanding of that, and that's a reflection of your life path, perfection. That's all it is. And if you resonate with what we speak of and you get into the deeper workings of that, repeat it, reflect it, realize it, and, oh, I manifested this. Oh, I healed this. Oh, I cast magic, all from the guidance of Jade and San Ching, and it came to life. It was realized. And that's the only part that's important, is your realization, your validation, your truth.
Exactly. And I just think it's funny because when this stuff gets activated or evoked, you just start having these little like fireworks that kind of just shoot off. Like we've had fireworks all morning of just these like epiphanies of, oh my goodness, I never realized that before. Oh my goodness, I just associated that and this and that and everything else. I mean, for example, like just the word effortless is 9 letters, which is what we live by. Even the Tao Te Ching, even though in American or English it's spelled Ching, Ching is Qing. So when you do it Qing, it's 9 letters. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like you just start having these moments and you just go, whoa, this is so like, wow, this is so cool. This is happy. You know, it's like I can just feel myself getting more and more and more sunk into my groove of what I'm supposed to be doing, where I'm supposed to be at, what's connecting with me.
Booyah. And so, using divination tools, what are they?
Yep.
You. What? Shifa, what are you saying? You're the divination tool.
And the validator.
The validator. And so, the little epiphanies, the synchronicities, the things that take place in your reality on a day-to-day basis is the confirmation that it is happening to you, that it is real to you. And then, you stumble across, of course, it's a coincidence, you stumble across our path, and then you get taught the secret sauce of how to cultivate this stuff and be able to, move it any way you want at will, as you should. Because, the real mastery of that interconnection with, the whisperings of the universe being transmuted as your very action is, a deeper construct of magic, right? And when you're able to really craft that stuff and make it really, specific to your very experience, when you're able to maneuver it however you choose to, that is the present moment, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I let the secret out. Oops. But that's when profound things take place. Okay? So, it's all conceptual till it's not. And so for you to have it realized, you must understand that you need to sink your teeth into something. So that's where you can transmute the energy from the energy centers that we teach people how to cultivate. You build these literal containers that have always been there, but they're activated through our practices. And you're able to then transmute the energy to literally real time alter your reality. And, over 30 years of my natural born life, I've got thousands of examples of that. But more recently would be something that, just happened to us a couple of days ago. Just a friendly reminder of your mastery, because, you have moments where you embrace your humanness and you forget. You forget how powerful you really are. But, it's part of, the mastery, part of how I acquire the mastery. That's part of the seed of how powerful Qigong is, that you can actually do it, multiple things at once. So what does that mean? It means that you can transmute yourself in all dimensions instantaneously, which is sort of theoretical to most, but realized when you understand the mastery of the energetics. And the result is, the old expression, the proof is in the pudding. You have to validate it through your experience. That validation comes out in a manifestation, magic healing. I was driving, and, family in the car as always. I don't go anywhere without them. I had my wife. Consciously didn't realize I was going over the speed limit, little to my knowledge. It was a straightaway that it didn't, I was just moving with the traffic. And of course, catch the eye or frequency of, bottom feeders like the old El Poliso, whatever you want to call it. Oh, is that your personality, Shifa? Yes. Yes, it is. In any case, that frequency was out there. caught a frequency, perhaps maybe I was expressing my personality a little bit too much, and it happens. I mean, that's how quickly manifestation takes place, as you start to refine your frequency. And so, caught the eye of this bottom feeder. Oops, did I just say that again? Oh, my bad. Must have been a coincidence. In any case, when I was pulled over because I was over the speed, I was just moving with the traffic. It didn't seem like we were speeding at all. It's like 10 miles over, like 50 to 60, real like I was just following the guy in front of me. Anyway, this energy turns up, and my personality wasn't sort of like having it. So I could, this is what I do, reading people's energy, reading their auras. I mean, he was extreme. He was like a scared rabbit with him and his body double, whatever, Dumb and Dumber, whatever you want to call it. In any case, he turns up. My personality is being fed, and commanding to put the windows down because he could see there was many. But it was my family and my wife and my family in the car, and he was just very confrontational, but extremely scared, like a rabbit. Had his hand on his gun. Just a lot of things that were a little possibly worrisome at face value. And quite frankly, I wasn't appreciating just the thought forms that he was creating, and I just straight up said to him, "How can I help you? What seems to be the problem?" And of course, he said, "I'm speeding, license and registration." The normal script, license and registration now. And of course, I'm like, "Show me." And then he was, "Excuse me, what?" Well, I want to see the radar. And then I got a little bit more assertive, which in most cases I would not recommend this, because you're dealing with a very alpha personality that's extremely fearful due to the mindset that he's been programmed in on a daily basis. So please do not attempt this at home. So I said, "You know what, honestly, let me go one step further. Why is it that you feel it necessary that you're almost at a point of drawing your firearm on my family?" And his eyes open like saucers. I'm like, "I'm not really that impressed." And I added a few adjectives, but moreover, the understanding of where this person is. And I draw the attention of the audience, all the OGs, Jade, everyone else. I'll echo this one more time. When you're emotional, you're suggestible. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is really entree to anyone that understands the intricacies of magic. So at this point, this guy's extremely emotional. I push his buttons even more. He becomes even more assertive. "Give me your license and registration." I hand it to him. "I'm going to go write you a ticket." Literally, that was his words. Like, I'm going to go and write you a ticket. Now, in the same path of me feeding my personality, and this is where this is where the mastery comes into it, because unless you're mastered in this and you are able to, move your personality aside, from face value, people will be like, "Oh, well, you just fed your emotions. You're going to get what's coming to you because you decided to just feed your personality." I was already working on a different layer in a different dimension, altering the very outcome, because at face value, it didn't seem like there was going to be a great outcome in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
And you kind of just...
It was like very stereotypical, like you were speeding, the cop was super angry, he was really aggressive, you were a little aggressive back, and it was, it was kind of like two dogs, like alpha dogs, like the stare down. Well, and you're like, "Okay, well, we're going to get a ticket." I mean, it was
Well, I didn't say that.
Well, we didn't.
You didn't know what I was already doing.
Oh, I reminded you that we can change anything at will. But anyone...
That was after the fact I already created it.
Yeah, anybody observing the thing as if they were watching a movie or something, the next scene would be...
The ticket.
The ticket.
Right. And so, you go through the processes. I already cast the magic. That's right. Hear it here first. I already cast the magic before I'd even finished the conversation with this guy in another dimensional shift. So at face value, what you would see is we have the confrontation. He takes my license and registration, and he's literally not thinking it, saying, "I'm going to give you a ticket." Walks off to his vehicle. And the other side of the coin, not 3 minutes later, comes back, hands me my license and registration, and says, "I'm going to give you a warning this time. Don't do it again."
Yeah, but he was like super friendly too.
Right. Well, this
Was.
is part of the rippling effects of what can take place and how quickly you can alter your reality. So please, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, please, when you're on your journey of realization of how powerful you are, use these tools, linguistics, numerology, astrology, as tools. Understand that the ultimate pinnacle of realization is that you can be all these things at once, and that you do not have to be limited by a path that you've taken on that is telling you this is your outcome. Because in essence, all those divination tools can be altered. And if you talk to someone that really knows what they're talking about within etymology, numerology, astrology, they will remind you that everything is a pattern that can be altered at will. And these are baselines of that, what can be repeated, and you can change that. Now, if you come across someone that is an expert but doesn't give you that sentiment, I would suggest, as someone who's done this for a very long time, that you possibly should get a second opinion. That's for you to decide. You can take this information, take it or leave it. But if someone's telling you that this is set in stone, that's a mistake,
Right.
because it's just not true. It's patently false. And so I want you to understand that it's a baseline, and that's the exciting part. Like, you want to take all the traits of every single star sign, every single number, and realize you can be all those things. That's the whole definition of you are the field is you are the universe is you, understanding that all of that is being realized within you as one. And then you're absent of time and space, absent of title, and then you can make that stuff happen right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the present moment that's so magical and so powerful. And then, of course, you materialize events like the type of magic that I'm speaking of. But it's about a level of mastery that, on face value, most people would look at that and go, oh, you fed your emotions, and, you're going to get what you get, which is you get more of the same. I will say that's patently false also, because I'm able to master the dimensional shifts at once, and anyone could do it. You just have to master it. You have to have a pathway to this realization, a pathway to this cultivation, but it can be realized by anybody. There's no exceptions to the rule. You sort of you start with these foundations of things, and then realize if you're coming from neurology, numerology, neurology, biology, psychology, physiology, you're limited. Don't assume that these are the mechanisms of all things. They're just a discovery of the humanists giving yourself a little taste of what they perceive as maybe a greater insight of what is this 3D reality. That's not the reality. It's been validated quite simply, if you want to lean on the pillars of science as we know, which is the newest language in this whole universe, that it's a holograph. We're living a holograph, and that wherever your eyes go, you manifest and create something that's, material, light to wave to matter to particle, particle matter, same difference, one half of the other, 1/6 of the other. It only exists because you're looking at it. Understand that and go, what are you talking about? What you talk about, Willis? Yeah, that's pretty much that in a nutshell. So, using these techniques and understandings, you can now move forward with a greater understanding of all things. Mm-hmm. And so, origins of the language you speak of, origins of the words you gravitate to, origins of the numbers you gravitate to, origins of the symbols you gravitate to, is what's most important to you and should be.
And now we take a commercial break for Jade's Analogies.
Yes.
That just came. Yeah, I very much think of it like these are just your tools in your artist kit. Mm-hmm. And so you have crayons, paints, pastels, acrylic, watercolor. These are just tools, the numerology, to be able for you to use to create what you want. So that's all it is. Use the numerology to create your reality. Use the astrology to create your reality. Use the linguistics to create what it is you want, as you would just pull out a different, art medium to draw your masterpiece.
Booyah. Because, here on this channel, we get into the Taoist fundamentals. And we draw up grids within the Bagua, and we draw up grids within a greater understanding of the trigrams, and they're all reflectant on the number 9 in of itself. The deception of the Bagua is that it's really 9, which in essence, if you round it out, it's 0. Everything is a misdirection. Everything is a misdirection within Taoism. Never, ever take anything at face value, because it never is. And that's sort of an inner understanding of the complexity that is really the simplicity of the magic of, the internal alchemy practices of a Taoist. So when you get a deeper taste of that through the numbers, get your numbers. Like for us, at the end of this podcast, we'll do a little, as we always do, a little exercise, do a little dance, as my dear friend Jenny would say. I'm going to dance a little bit with this, and we will. We will dance with it, and you'll have a greater understanding. I'll use codes that always bring you back to the power of 9. And those codes will be very evident. You will be able to sample the energetic components of that, and that power is going to be very clear. And you're on the tidal wave and expressed through this portal that is the Taoist central, that is the house of Jade and San Qing, that you're getting this inner alchemy and expression of all things as the universe through our teachings, through our exploration, through our sharing with you, the audience, the truth seeker, the person that's acquiring this incredible ancient knowledge, and that becomes realized. That's it. Be all or end all.
Pure consciousness.
Pure consciousness. And, at the end of every podcast, I always ask people, what's your definition of consciousness? And it's almost like I'm asking them a very personal question. And I love the response because, it's either, wow, that was like the most, I'm so grateful to be able to answer that. No one's ever asked me that. Or it's a screw you. But no, I've never had that moment. People are always excited to want to expand. If we're doing the dance here on this channel, it's because we were meant to be together, because it was just a coincidence. And so, a greater understanding of that is the inner workings and the nature of all things, which is the Tao, the mother of all things. And so I want to be clear on the exploration of that. So, you'll have your life path numbers, and it's quite simple. You can basically correlate them after this podcast and go and type it into the YouTube and find someone that has an energy resonance that doesn't seem like some hillbilly nut job, and get the definition of your life path using the basic understanding. And so for numerology, the basic understanding is you take your birth date and you start adding it up with hillbilly math. It's kind of weird. And you end up with your life path number, in essence. And so, example. Okay, Schiffer, example. Okay. You want to do, you're born on the 6th of February, 1985. So you would zero it to a 6 plus a 2 for the month, plus you would then separate the 1995 as 1 plus 9 equals 10, and then 5 and 9 equals 14. Then you do more hillbilly math and start separating that out and rounding it down so that all of a sudden it's 6 plus 5 is 11. Then you would add the 10 plus 14, which would end up being 1 plus 1 plus 4 equals 6. This is really interesting how they do this.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have 6, and then you do 6 plus, what is it?
What, the 2?
The 2. What's
The month, February?
Yeah, no, it's like 6 plus 2 is 7. So 6 plus 7 is 13. And then you go 1 plus 3 equals 4. And so that would be your life path. I know it's
basically everything comes back to the original numbers,
which is
between 1 and 9.
Between 1 and 9, which is exactly what Jade said. So, in essence, if you can follow that hillbilly math,
very crazy.
You will get a deeper understanding, and each path has essentially gives you a deeper understanding of who you really are and what your life's purpose is. That's why they call it the life path. This is just a divination tool, and it can be powerful or it can not be powerful. I would suggest that you come to a realization of how powerful you are, knowing you're all things, and that when you get the information, that you can resonate on all levels and have that realized in your reality, because that's really the truth. It's not the start or end of all things. It's the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And astrology, you start with the signs. They're all related to constellations. And then you have a greater understanding of yourself through your birth sign and, time and date. And, of course, etymology is the language that you are resonating with. And these are all sort of like complemented with the understanding that letters, words, numbers, symbols are all expressed as really the things that draw your attention to your reality. And you can feel the energetic charge from these things that express through your very, life experiences. And so it's not conceptual anymore. Once you hear this, it becomes realized. That's the power of the now. That means you can alter it instantly. Like, you listen to this podcast and go, whoa, that's crazy, man. And then you can then go and reference the Tao Te Ching and, I can't believe this. This is a coincidence. No. It's meant for you right here, right now. And that's the power of it. So using these types of tools, you get a deeper understanding, and it kind of morphs off. In essence, what you can realize is you can create those numbers any way you want them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how they always end up the way you want them.
Yeah.
Which is part of the nature of all things, which is if you are the universe, you can create the ebb and flow instantaneously and live it and express it right here, right now.
And I think the more you talk about this stuff, the more I keep having these fireworks popping off and these epiphanies. And it really is. I mean, numerology, astrology, etymology. I want to just say edamame. It really is like a universal language. When you think about it, no matter where you are in the world, no matter what time period you were in the world, you had some form of numbers. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what time frame you are in the world, you could see the stars or some version. I mean, everyone can look up. We all see the same thing, at least something. And these kind of like universal.
Unless you're in the back of a cop car, being arrested for speeding. No, I'm just kidding.
And then, when I think of etymology, I also think of these kind of universal things that humans do, whether love. You could probably ask most people, can you say love in 5 different languages? And even if they've never even spoke any other language, they probably could, because it's such a it has such a meaning in every culture and every language. That's why it's almost like, okay, can you say hello in 5 different languages. Pretty much everyone in the audience, whether you speak French or German or Japanese or Chinese or, Hawaiian, I can at least say hello or have heard the word hello in multiple languages, because it is one of those words where it doesn't matter what country you're in or what language it is. Everyone has a word for hello or goodbye, or you know what I mean? These very universal words that you can, and even gestures that you can communicate with someone, even if you're on completely different sides of the earth.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I consider those kind of that trio, what a coincidence trio, as a very universal language.
Yeah. Oh, they are. They are in every sense of the word. And so, when you start putting these things together, you have these, what we like to call them epiphanies, light bulbs, aha moments,
Absolutely.
blammo moments.
Yeah.
And, it just transmutes into your reality. And so always remember you have just begun. Always remember there's never a right or a wrong. It's your definition of reality. You move away from the humanness and the complexity of duality, and you'll find things start to flow very quickly for you. Even if you're just picking up the nuances of what we're saying here today, and you do nothing more than add those to your reality, you're going to see an instant change. Now, when you start being more specific and you're doing the practices and techniques that we teach you, well, all bets are off as to how fast your reality is altered.
And it's so funny that you say that, because I go straight back to all rivers lead to the same place. And some go at a dribble or a drip at a time, and some are rushing and racing and raging. And that's kind of the same thing. That's how everyone's path is. Everybody has this form of realization at some point. Some for others might be just a little drip, one drip at a time, a little tiny dribble that takes, as long as it takes to get there. And some people have these racing, raging, rapid rivers that get there super fast with lots of force. And some just have, a regular river that just does it at its own speed. Everyone does it at their own speed, but we all get back to that same place.
Which is all things.
Exactly, the universe.
The universe as we know it. So that was a very interesting overview, I think, today. We really touched on quite a few things that are always questions that people want to know about.
Absolutely.
And we have, greater understanding of these things. We use these tools within our own systems of training, and those types of things will be available within the next couple of days for the new year, that you'll be able to just go, oh, I want to learn how to read auras. Here's the module for that. Oh, I want to learn how to use numerology. Here's the module for that. I want to learn how to astrology. Whatever it is, you can go and go, oh, they're right here. Click. I need that. Boom. And you will get insight instantaneously into all the things that you're experiencing. And that's the valuable part about this. And all that stuff has been integrated into your very experience. When you go through these modules, you acquire a skill that's second to none.
Right.
And it's instantaneous, and you get to validate it with the experience. Oh, yeah.
And that validation is like we mentioned earlier in our other examples, just another click on your consciousness and just another reminder of where you're at and that expansion, whether it's, knowing you're going to get out of a ticket or having a child on a certain day because it resonates with you. All of these are just expansions of consciousness for you as the individual. And then the more you open yourself up, the bigger it gets, and the more it happens, and the more frequent.
And, again, it starts from you. It ends with you. And so all the things we speak of, the seed of that starts with accepting everything at face value. We speak on this a lot. Being childlike in your nature. We speak on this a lot. Know this to be true. This is the truth to all things. Simplicity effortless action, effortless effort, wu wei. That is what we call the magnetic flow of the universe, and you access the wu ji, the stillness between the breath in and the breath out, realizing that you are the mother of all things, the Tao. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in closing, any thoughts, feelings, or emotions you'd like to share with the audience? Judas Jadis. I don't even know why.
What's wrong with you?
I feel like something's in my back. No, I'm just kidding.
I again, just getting back to what resonates with you. Everything is a frequency. The numbers are frequency. The words are frequencies. Everything is a frequency, and tapping into that frequency that resonates with you doesn't, just because you don't associate with nines or your number is a different number. It's all just a frequency. You just have to find that groove that you fit in, and then just continue vibrating there.
And,
there is no right or wrong.
No, there is
that's
no.
the most important
The most important thing.
point.
Right.
Yeah.
And just like, as I say, vibration, how very interesting how
Then you start
all of
to
a
feel
sudden
it.
you start to feel the vibration because I've already set that up. It's already been created. I'm just tapping into the vibration, and with that vibration, I turn it up another notch. Gets a little higher because that vibration then transmutes into a frequency.
Yeah.
And then that frequency starts to be an expression of the very essence of who you are. And then you start adding codes, which I'll do inaudibly, but watch this when I say it. Did you hear that? No, you felt it. How different is that? That's the power of the now. That's the power of having true source access and instantly being able to acquire that magnitude and that pulpability that you're already experiencing through your body, through your hands. You're going, holy moly, how is he doing this? He might be some type of wizard. Maybe. And so with that, either have a sense, remove a sense, add a sense, close your eyes. We're going to take a few breaths in and out, calibrating to the vibration that I'm putting out, the vibration that will synchronize and lock into a frequency. And so I'll get you to breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. One more. Breathe in, breathe out. And now you can start to feel that frequency that I'm transmitting from the vibration. I'm going to increase that frequency, adding a couple more codes. Power of 81, power of 19. Ooh, isn't that an interesting number? Power of 72, power of a 9. Notice the variation in that when we move from our more commonly known highest power number, it still resorts back to 9. Understand this, know this to be true, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. It never loses its way home. And that frequency is starting to transmit through your physical body, and it's amplifying, it's oscillating, its resonance, its reverberation is all things. It is the expression of the Tao. Realize it now, know it to be true. As you are mindful of your breath, it only gets stronger. Where your breath becomes very shallow because of the magnitude of the energy that you're gathering, chi gathering within your physical body. And my answer to you is you're welcome. And continue to respirate that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. To the power of 9, to the power of 81, to the abundance of 72, to the limitless of 63, realizing the forever frequency of all things, echoing right here, right now. The mother of all things, the name that cannot be named. That's right. You are the tuning fork of your reality. Let that chill, that frequency transmute through your very essence. One more inhale in. Exhale. Hold it. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release. Expressed in the true nature of all things, expressed as all things. You are all. You are one. You are everything. Right here, right now. Oh my goodness. If you're hearing my name, if you're hearing my words in a distance, or you are present, embrace and be all things as this continues to express itself through your breath. As long as you are breathing, you are pulsating. That is part of the power of this particular healing exercise, that you are attaching yourself to the frequency. It's being expressed through your physical body, and that's how it's being realized as all things. All is one, one is all. And with that, I am your humble servant and Sifu, Taoist Master San Ching, and I will see you on the next one, guys.